everyone, this is LLTap. I'm bringing you another Coming of the Horde replay cast. Coming of the Horde is a custom map made by the Bronze Knee for Warcraft 3. I also noticed I squeaked share quite a bit there, so hopefully it's not too bad. And while we're loading in, I will say that this is somewhat of a meme game, but a pretty good one overall. So I decided not to pick a extremely sort of good and rare game as with my first cast as I return, as I'm feeling a bit rusty and I want to sort of make sure there are no obvious issues that have arisen during my hiatus. So yeah, as we're loading in, I will begin by turning off the fog of war and showing all the players in the game, which is always nice. I want to sort of point out that I'm sure you realize this if you're watching this video, but most of the regular players have a pretty good idea about how good the various players are and how the game will turn out simply by looking at the various players that are actually in the game. So it's always nice to see, and I know that a lot of the viewers want to see if they themselves are in the game or not, so I thought it was a nice start. And you can see here the Alliance is calling out the various Horde heroes, while the Horde heroes are, or the Horde players are preparing the strategies, I'm sure. Although unfortunately we can't see their chat as this replay is from the Alliance perspective. But nothing's too strange going on so far. It does look like Blue managed to evacuate most of his starting units, which a bit funny considering the blue player, but yeah. So the yellow has Archimon, which is a sort of standard Legion pick, and can't see any other heroes at the moment, but I'm sure they'll turn up soon, and it does look like the Horde is doing a normal 2-2 split where they send 2 players north and 2 players to blue. And I'll try to look over all the heroes real quick. So I do know that red will be picking Galen, because it's me, and you can see Bran here from the orange player, and looks like a quick rush here from Dark Queen, who has no soul by the way. A bit curious, and doesn't look like Blue has a hero yet. He's probably busy microing his Northside unit still, I suppose. You can see we have Terralian and Gen, as well as Sylvanas and Mishan and Khadgar, as well as the aforementioned Galen. I don't think this rush did too much, but at least it prevented a blue auto defense, which is always nice, especially since Ner'zhul is a great AoE hero, so having the entire line sort of clumped up in here is definitely a great start. And here we have the other Horde player, who's a bit slow, but he's chosen Maim, which is a great hero, and you know, nice compliment to Archimon and Ner'zhul, since he's a great late game hero and they're very good in the early game. Does look like yellow is going for green, so no surprises there. I'm not sure what the brown player is doing. He should be going north as well, and indeed he is. So all standard stuff there. And I think we've mentioned, oh yeah, there's Antonidas, and I do think that means we've mentioned every single hero in the game. So some typical LeBron plays here. You can see Turlian trying to harass, but he gets taken out by some nice fireball as well as catapult focus fire. It's always nice. Sort of typical Horde harass here. Good stuff. Bit unfortunate for the Horde perhaps that light blue is sort of slacking behind, which isn't great. But yeah, some nice back and forth going on here. Yeah, this is kind of risky, as you can see. There isn't really much in the way of defense here, so if the Horde can pile in while the Alliance is busy at the bottom, it could be pretty bad. But when it comes to these early Horde attacks on blue in general, I have to say I'm somewhat skeptical, because the entire Alliance will be here because there's nothing else to do, while half the Horde isn't really doing anything, as they're just moving to prepare to attack. And it does look like they're actually sending 2 players to kill green. So at the moment, half of the Horde isn't really doing anything, while the entire Alliance is fighting off these 2 Horde players. But again, Ner'zhul is a great early game hero, so maybe it's worth doing anyways. You can see there's quite a few Alliance towers going down, and pretty standard sort of inner defense. A bit of a clusterfuck, maybe a bunch of swordsmen in the back, which probably isn't ideal. But nothing special, and you can see a nice denying the catapult kill here, and we'll see if he can take down Terralian again, and indeed he does, maybe. Well, actually, maybe that Raider can strike him down. Ah, he did manage to heal himself, but pretty close moment anyways. And you can see Ner'zhul is actually already level 6, which is pretty nice. And meanwhile, those look like they're trying to attack green, but they're being driven off. This is generally not a good idea, because these archers can easily be taken down by the sort of AoE of the Legion players, or even the Infernal Contraption. So, but Does look like the green player is moving away, so... Although this is a bit unfortunate, you know, charging out his breeze like this. Meanwhile, this is a constant battle going on at Stormwind, which is doing pretty nice, and there's been some nice harassment as well. Looks like Blue is actually blocking himself here, so we'll see if he manages to sort it out. And indeed he does, but you know, that's an unfortunate delay that definitely didn't help him out, and did allow the Alliance to maybe focus Dark Green a bit more than they should have. Yeah, so it looks like he almost managed to trap main here, but he does evade the gate at the last moment, and it doesn't look too great for Blue. He may very well go down right away, which, you know, not too rare, but, you know, definitely not something you want, and it's definitely a lot of feed. As you can see, Ner'zhul is already level 7, while the Northern Horde heroes aren't even level 5 yet. You can see Griselda are just hitting level 4. But they're doing well as well. They're doing good as well, I should say. Well, maybe they're doing well as well. I don't know. But yeah, maybe Horde can manage to sort of take out 2 bases at the same time, which is a very common, there's a strategy and occurrence that when all the Alliance heroes die at one throne, the Horde can all teleport and they take down another throne as well. But this early in the game, the Alliance heroes resurrect very quickly, so it doesn't look like Green will go down at this moment, and this is pretty dangerous for the Horde. So the thing I mentioned earlier is now in the reverse, with the entire Alliance being focused on Green, while a large portion of the Horde is still sort of functionally AFK of Blue. And you can see here Ner'zhul is teleporting in, but Light Blue is nowhere to be seen. And Blue isn't dead yet, but he will be anytime now, so yeah. Let's see what happens here. It's a lot of catapults and AoE on both sides, so pretty nice killing overall, but it does look like the Alliance will manage to hold on, you can see here. A lot of units dying, and this is a very good choke for the Alliance, and arguably one of the best in the games, especially in the early game where the Horde has no Zeppelins, and well, I guess they technically have Zeppelins now, but you know, Zeppelining 4 units generally isn't a great idea. You know, Zeppelins are mainly dangerous in the late game where you have some sort of, you know, level 20 Grom that you can drop and kill everything. But yeah, it does look like the Alliance managed to hold on to Green just barely. There's a whole pile of bodies here. And we'll see what else is going on. They're pinging the pass, which looks surprisingly undefended, so not sure what's going on with that, but looks like some nice air harass here, flying his air units over to Kultiras and aiming the worker, preventing him from building a port in the southern end of Kultiras, which is nice. And it does look like the Alliance is calling to give up their navy altogether, and the Horde is sort of powering out the air units with Deathwing, so maybe it was a good idea. Not sure what's going on here. Looks like Red is preparing some sort of counter-attack. Yeah, unfortunately I did kind of miss that the Horde was taking Quel'Thalas while I was looking at the navy, but yeah, it looks like a massacre. We sort of heroes running around all over the place trying to avoid the Horde, but Quel'Thalas will go down for sure. You can see Mishan dying here, and Antonidas dying in the corner, and maybe Brown will manage to get out, but it doesn't look like it, so he will go down as well. And the red player trying to escape, and it looks like he might actually make it through the front gate. But yeah, that's the end of Quel'Thalas, and it does look like the Horde is taking out the navy as well. You see the red has brought his worker here, but to no avail, as there's nowhere to build a port at the moment. So yeah, not too much going on at the moment. It looks like Light Blue is focusing on the navy because he hasn't been doing much of anything for a while. He does buy some items here, so looks like a Wolf Hunter's guy, so pretty standard stuff from MAME. I actually think that MAME has enough innate damage that you can actually get something like a Stone Pot first, but you know. Wolf Hunter is definitely a standard choice and a good overall item for MAME, so not too much to say about that. Narcoman, of course, Helm of Energy is a great item and typical as well. Let's see, looks like Griselda is also getting a Wolf Hunter's guy, so you know, normal stuff. And let's see about Ner'zhul. No items yet, but definitely get one soon. I assume he can afford it. Not sure what he's been doing actually. I mean, looks like he's teleporting somewhere. Not sure why he would teleport there, but maybe he's hunting for workers or something. So we'll see what's going on. Look like the alliances try to build a northern navy, and this is a very common strategy that they can easily throw the Horde off guard if they think they've defeated the navy and they're sort of slacking off and sort of rallying their ships around, and they get all run into a massive alliance navy waiting. But it does look like the Horde is paying attention this time, and this black navy will probably not manage to achieve too much. But as I say that, the teal navy is coming along as well, so we'll see what happens here. And you can see here Ner'zhul is buying a lightning stave, so pretty good item as well, which augments his already great AoE abilities, and yeah, pretty standard stuff as well. So it does look like the Horde manages to roll the Alliance Navy pretty easily. So yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of blue ships here actually, so maybe they can try some sort of third Alliance naval rally, I suppose, and you can see there's a bunch of red ships arriving as well. It's actually quite unfortunate for the Alliance that, in the sense that if all these ships had been down here when the battle was going on, they might have had a much better chance than fighting the Horde Navy piecemeal, which is never a good idea. Meanwhile, there's some harassing going on as red as well. You can see here, yeah. Guess Aurelian died because he has a bunch of units here, but no heroes, so. Yeah, there's some naval battle going on, but with the Horde probably landing on Kultira soon, it probably shouldn't be a sort of typical naval blockade game. At the same time, looks like yellow is preparing for the pause, which I personally would generally advocate that if you have naval control, you might as well skip the pause, but if you have heavy AoE heroes like Archimonde and Ner'zhul, it might be a good idea, as the pause has a sort of nasty tendency of being clogged by a whole bunch of alliance units that chain block each other and feed the Horde massively. So we'll see what happens here. Not much else going on besides the navy, so might as well check it out. There's some sort of fighting going on here, but yeah, some air harass, nothing too serious. Yeah, it does look like some of the Horde ships do go down, but there's a lot more coming, and I don't know. Navy for the Alliance is generally a good idea, and it does look like they will be getting a lot more feed than they have any sort of rights to get in this situation. And it's not like the Alliance and Navy is particularly well organized either. There's a lot of sort of single battleships and frigates running around all over the place. But yeah, it looks like some sort of battle going on at the pass, and indeed you see Ner'zhul is starting to harass here, which combined with the shockwave from the Ogre Lords in particular makes Ner'zhul a very nasty harasser who can easily sort of farm the pass without feeding the Alliance any item points in return. So nice play here, although he does manage to almost get hunted down by these Aryans, and they do actually take him out, which is always nice. It's a moral victory if nothing else, and makes you sort of paranoid for the rest of the game. That said, I kind of question if it's worth doing, because he probably fed like 300 item points, losing most of his air units here, for essentially no gain, as you get nothing for killing heroes if you have no other heroes nearby. Actually, as I say that, I'm not sure. There might be some sort of global experience, but I don't think so. Meanwhile, the naval battle is still going on. Which, a bit curious, but it looks like the Horde is finally cleaning up here, so. We also see if light blue has actually moved yet, and yes, so maybe it's up to something. It does look like they actually took out the red port from the land side here, so. Bit of a slow game at the moment, not too much going on. The Horde is sort of cleaning up the navy and setting up while the Alliance are all piling in at the boss. Can take a quick look at Griselda. But yeah, she does have a Wolf Hunter's Guise now, but. So it does look like the Horde is going to go for the boss anyways, despite having naval control, which, you know, as I just mentioned, can be nice. Especially if you have great AoE, as you can see here, Dracoon getting some nice kills by all the item points pointing up, as is currently from his point of view. And there's also a massive naval battle going on at the southern end here, so it does look like light blue is actually going to try and land on Hillspread, which it can certainly do, especially if the Alliance doesn't aim this transport, which unfortunately they do not. You still have to be careful because the battleships can really wreck your units, but it does look like the Horde is taking him down here, and that's definitely the end of the blue throne. Meanwhile, there's a constant battle going on at the mountain pass. I think you see another great AoE there with a whole bunch of item point, I guess you could say markers popping up, and I think Turalian died in there somewhere as well, so... At the same time, Griselda not doing much of a leeching experience on the lower ground here, but the Akamon is doing well, and he has his portal and his AoE, so... We'll see if they can break the pass here. Another nice AoE from Akamon, in this case killing all the green archers, so always nice. Yeah, the attack on the pass is a bit messy, but I would definitely say that this probably favors the Horde overall. As you can see, they're killing a whole bunch of Alliance units, and there's only really 2 Horde players here. At the same time, you can see Light Blue sort of sneaking in. He's taking out Hill Spread, and he's going for Purple, which is completely undefended, and he will get the front generator for sure, and probably the second one as well, as there's no defense going on. Well, as I say that, he starts building units, but I highly doubt he can make much happen here. And meanwhile, the pass is dying, and you can see Ner'zhul here stopping the teleport from Gen, so he can't escape, and he does go down. Well, he will do soon, I suppose. Let's see if there's anything else going on at the moment. Looks like the Alliance players aren't happy. So yeah, the pass is gone, and blue is gone, and green is gone, and the sea is gone, so pretty good start for the Horde so far. But nothing extraordinary either, and Main did die somewhere, so maybe the entire Alliance managed to teleport into Dalaran and save it, which is feels extremely bad for the Horde. Which is a bit curious. Not sure how that happened, or why, but, well, I shouldn't say why, but why the rest of the Horde didn't teleport in, but presumably, just like me, they kind of assumed that Dalaran was already dead and weren't expecting this type of mass teleport. Which, bit of a curious item choice here, going for a Demon Bone Bulwark on Turalian, but the great player is somewhat of a unknown factor to me, which, you know, usually isn't a bad sign. Usually isn't a great sign, I should say. We'll check it out to see if he gets any other interesting items later. Meanwhile, it doesn't look like he has too much at home, but yeah. Let's see if there's anything else interesting going on here at the moment. So, yeah. Not too much. Looks like the Horde are preparing to take out Dalaran for real this time, with brown building a base outside, and light blue building a base outside, and yellow building a base outside. So definitely heavy on the Dalaran offense. Meanwhile, it does look like... I was gonna say that dark green is preparing to attack grey, but apparently not. Looks like he was teleporting somewhere, but I'm not sure if he changed his mind, or maybe if someone actually killed the unit he was teleporting to. And it does look like grey has a whole bunch of units in Stromgarde, which can be a problem, especially if the Horde kills their farm and you don't have the supply to build units in your base anymore. We'll see if he manages to sneak in his worker here, but he doesn't, you know. Dark green is a very good player and not apt to make such mistakes. Meanwhile, there was something going on here, but I guess it was just some air units, or maybe the ships that attack the teal players. And this, of course, is never a great idea. Fighting ships with units. And it does look like, oh, Grey still had his gate, which might save him here, but yeah. Well, actually, a bit hard to tell, but it does look like Grey will survive for now. See if they can have Mishan here by shooting him down with units. Always important to do. And one of those interesting things that, you know, against the vast majority of the Horde players who play the game in general, and not just in this map, that wouldn't have happened. You know, Mishan would have just sort of slunk away into the corner and been safe, but not this time. And with all these reinforcements, it does look like the dark green player will take out Grey, and the red player is giving up and teleporting away, and we'll see if the rest of the alliance follows suit. You can see Bran here being a bit too brave and going down to Ner'zhul. Not sure what that was about. So this is a nice trap here on Ner'zhul, and if they can aim him down in time, they might be able to kill him. But we'll see. Well, doesn't look like it. Which is a bit unfortunate. I think that the Alliance could definitely sort of charge him there and brought him down. But yeah, and meanwhile there's a massive attack going on Dalaran, so we'll move down there instead. I will say that Grey is probably doomed anyway, so not too much to see up there. Yeah, we'll see if Mame can sort of make something happen here. He's sort of being blocked by his own skeletal warriors, which is a bit of an issue. Yeah, pretty nice battle going on overall. Now, Dalan, I think, is one of the strongest bases, especially if you can pile in the AoE in this sort of area. So we'll see if they can hang on here. You see, Mame does go down here, and he's pretty weak at this point in the game still, so it's kind of tricky to make much happen with him. But they do still have Akamon hanging back, and he can still put out some great AoE damage. Although, this situation looks like he's actually taking some pretty nasty damage from the aura, so... You see, it does look like the Alliance will manage to sort of clutch defense for now. But yeah, meanwhile, looks like yeah, Grey is going down, which is to be expected. It's a bit unfortunate that he keeps building these units one by one, which have no chance of saving the throne, but keeps feeding Ner'zhul. You can see Ner'zhul here is dropping his items to make his clarity potions even more effective. Yeah, nice stuff overall. Oh yeah, Griselda did die somewhere, so unfortunately I did miss the attack on Kultiras, but it does look like it's going down anyways. You can see Mishan here being trapped and cornered by Horde units. And again, I want to point out that, you know, this is extremely important and well done to chase down the hero rather than letting them slink away, which is easily done in this situation. You can see Red is actually on the outside of the Kultiran gate. And with these teleports coming in, they should be able to kill the TL throne, but the Horde might manage to aim it down in time. It's definitely gonna be sort of clutch, but it does look like the Alliance pulls it up. Which is pretty nice, because the Horde didn't have a base on Kultira, so they have to land their units again. Meanwhile, there's not too much going on. If you look at the heroes, so Bran has Shaman Claws and a Thunder Fury, while Galen has a Stone Pact and a Veteran's Blade, so pretty normal stuff. Maybe the Veteran's Blade on Galen is a bit of an odd choice, but... See what's going on here. Looks like Brown is preparing for another assault on Kultiras, and... Not sure what this Assassin's Blade is either. I'm guessing it's Blades of Agony, maybe? It's a bit of an odd choice. Then you can see Ner'zhul dropping his items again for more clarity value. And it does look like purple is the next prime target for sure, with 3 Horde heroes outside and 3 Horde armies as well, with both dark green and yellow and light blue. Meanwhile, on the Alliance side, it's looking pretty weak. I'm not sure why the purple player keeps building his Air Force, because air units are definitely good and have a place, but they're kind of hard to use in a defense like this, especially if there's troll trappers who are lurking in the wings, and there's great AoE damage coming in anyways. It's a bit of a curious archer attack here, which won't accomplish much. See what's going on here. You can see some nice AoE going down from Ner'zhul, and it doesn't... I wasn't quite close to taking down Dantonidas actually, but you can see if Mishan managed to hunt him down here. It's gonna be pretty close, I think, if he has a Q ready, and he might actually die here. I'm not sure if that Flame Tongue Totem actually blocked Mishan from attacking him or not, but it was definitely a good idea. See, I can see Turelian coming in again. Looks like Mame teleported somewhere, so not sure what that was about. Ah, looks like he went to Kultiras actually, and we'll see if the Alliance can respond in time. Bit of a curious strategy. I thought he teleported because Brown was attacking, but apparently it didn't, and Mame alone is actually... And he's only level 8 while the red player is level 10, so I'm not sure how this will work out. You can see the... yeah, with Mishan popping out, he has no chance for sure. But, yeah, the Brown player is arriving as well, so maybe they can manage to take it out anyways. And does actually look like Mame managed to sneak away. And meanwhile, it does look like the dark green player is attacking red and gets trapped inside, but he does manage to teleport out as there's no hero here to interrupt it. Apparently he's busy at teal, but it looks like he's teleporting home at this moment, and we'll see if the Alliance get a failed Kultiras anyways. There's only Brown here, and this choke is very hard to take if you don't have great AoE, but it does look like they're punching through regardless. Ah yeah, Blood Moon plate. Pretty curious, but not particularly strange, I would say. It's a good item overall with magic resistance and agility as well as armor, so it's a great pick for Griselda. It does look like Brown will manage to take down Kultiras with the help of Teal, and we'll see if Misha manages to teleport out. She does actually do it, so well played by her. And it's always a good idea to try and teleport out if you can, because there's no reason to die in vain, but unfortunately it does get taken out by Deathwing, who sees an opportune moment to take her down when she's almost dead. You can see here Ner'zhul again with the rest. He does get trapped here, so we'll see if the Alliance manages to take him out here. Definitely looks like the red player is going to try at least. But you know, Galen versus Ner'zhul at this stage of the game is you know, a bit of a toss-up. But with Tyrellian here, maybe they can team up on him and take him down. But with this Horde teleporting in here, it probably won't work out. It's a bit unfortunate. And yeah, there's also some harass going on at purple, but it does look like the main battle will be going on at Stromgarde at the moment, so we'll try and stay focused on it. Some nice gates closing there, which keeps the Horde busy. And Ner'zhul is actually still up on this ramp, so he definitely could have teleported out if he wanted to, but with Griselda here and another Horde here teleporting in, well, actually they get blocked by the Alliance focusing down the unit, but I highly doubt that the Alliance can charge this sort of rampart anymore. However, it does look like the Horde attack is fizzling out as Dark Queen isn't sending any more units, and there's a lot of Alliance heroes here at this point. You can see Griselda using her ultimate here. Bit curious that Gen has actually leveled his armor ability early, which usually quite rare. But yeah, it does look like Griselda is going down and Ner'zhul is retreating, so with that said, Stromgarde should be safe for now, and we'll see if the Legion player can manage to take out Dalaran in the meanwhile. Sylvanas definitely needs to be careful so Mame doesn't catch up to her and slap her down. You can see some nice use of Unholy Frenzy on the air units here. Which takes a lot of effort to do, especially since it only lasts a very short moment, but the yellow player has extremely high APM, so he's very adept at doing things like that. And one of the few players who can actually utilize this ability to any sort of great effect. But with nothing going on elsewhere on the map, the entire alliance does look like it's piling in here, and even with Mame and Arkamon here, it doesn't look like there'll be too much going on. You can see Mishan here cutting down Mame, and the alliance doing a good job at focusing him down as well. And even though he's only level 10, he's really strong at this point. Especially with his cleave ultimate active as well as his damage reduction ultimate active. But while the alliance is fighting here in Dala, it does look like they are attacking the Stromgarde again. And we're approaching the point in the game where armies are essentially useless without a hero, so you always have to be on point. I don't see Ner'zhul at the moment, so I'm not sure what he's up to. Sitting at home apparently. I'm not sure why he was over there. Maybe he died somehow. And a nice teleport deny from the Horde this time. But apparently it wasn't Galen who was teleport denied, but some other Alliance hero. And there's some sort of battle going on everywhere at once, so I'll try and just split between the two. I think this is a more interesting one as it involves more players. And I have to say, from a sort of casting perspective, I don't like Gen's armor ability as it sort of clogs the screen, but you see Mame looks like he's taking out Tyrellian here while Mishan is running around, maybe trying to take out Griselda. As I mentioned in the beginning, I think Griselda is actually a pretty good hero these days, and definitely sort of underrated, and probably because most players sort of still see her as the hero she used to be, rather than the hero she is these days. It does look like Stromgarde is in dire straits as well, having fallen back to the top ramps here, and I assume Galen is dead as he isn't here, and you know, defending the top of Stromgarde against a hero like Ner'zhul is generally not a good idea, as he can sort of run around and AoE you from all angles while not putting himself at risk. And indeed, you can see with Brand dying and Sylvanas dying, this is definitely the end of Stromgarde. Well, someone is teleporting in, but I'm highly doubting they will be able to save this place. And yeah, it's definitely not a sort of strange item on Tyrellian. Again, Bastion of Purity isn't a terrible item on Tyrellian, but combined with a Demon Bolt Bulwark, it's definitely an odd choice. And yeah, that's the end of Stromgarde, so we go back to Dalaran, which is actually dying as well, so really nice sort of double punch from the Horde. And as I mentioned with Stromgarde and Quel'Thalas, this is a very common occurrence when all the Alliance heroes die in one place and the Horde can take it out. Then the remaining Alliance thrones are also very weak, as I just mentioned, a significant portion of the Alliance heroes are dead, but if the Alliance is not careful here, they might actually take down, well, they might actually manage to save Stromgarde, and indeed, I seem to recall that they do, because Ner'zhul leaves to chase down Galen, and while he's doing that, the Alliance teleports in and they take out Maim, which I thought was pretty funny. And you can see here that Dark Green is definitely banking up on the item points, so he's definitely buying something soon. Here's mostly caster items so far, you know, standard stuff. Meanwhile, does look like there's an attack going on Gilneas as well, so we'll try and keep an eye on both of them at the same time. Nice build from Mishan as well, so that's quick and high damage, as well as I assume a Glacial Shield for countering the magic damage from Ner'zhul and Akamon. Yeah, nice stuff. You know, reclaiming thrones like this is always dangerous, because sometimes you wind up in a situation where the entire alliance piles in just to die again, but it does look like they managed to save it this time, and Mishan do take down Ner'zhul, and this is extremely frustrating for the Horde to deal with. Meanwhile, doesn't look like they have attacked Gilneas just yet. Maybe they will soon, and it does look like yellow is moving in, and brown is here as well. Some nice lightning shots going on here. So yeah, Stromgarde still alive. We'll focus on this for now. I'm not sure if it's a replay, but sometimes you see like the building indicators don't vanish, and sometimes I think that the base is still alive somehow, which is a bit annoying. You can see Akamon is dangerously close to the gate, but he has destroyed the lever, so it's no problem. And again, you can see him using the Unholy Frenzy on his air units, which is a very good skill to use, but it does require a lot of attention and I guess you could say micro resources. And unfortunately the Alliance has a lot of heroes here, but they don't have anything clogging the gate here, so with the Horde pouring in, the Alliance could be in trouble. And you can see Griselda is becoming extremely difficult to kill. But Akamon is not so tanky, and we'll see if he can manage to weasel out here. And yeah, so looks like some harass going on at Stromgarde, but even Ner'zhul is at Gilneas, so it's definitely the focus of every single player at the moment, which is nice. And I'm not sure what Akamon is doing here, some sort of a mismovement perhaps. We'll see if he can hide up in this corner or if Mishan will cut him down. And she does actually, but she dies as well. So. Yeah, some pretty nice killings so far. Let's see. I would imagine that Gilneas falls this was a nice sort of clutch rally from the Horde pour in, but I don't think they'll manage this time, and yeah, that's definitely the end for Gilneas. And yeah, again, as I mentioned several times, at this moment a significant portion of the Alliance heroes are dead, so if the Horde is quick on their feet, they can easily teleport to Stromgarde and finish the job. And you can see Maim is here and Ner'zhul is here, while only Khadgar is here, so you know, you have more Horde heroes than Alliance heroes in a given location, which is generally not a good sign for the Alliance. And Khadgar here is getting chased down by Maim. But perhaps he did manage to run around enough to give the Alliance time to teleport in, and you can see here that since there's nothing else going on here, they're all piling in. Also, Khadgar does get taken out by a sneaky Ner'zhul flank. As I mentioned earlier, this is an extremely precarious situation for the Alliance to defend, as the Horde heroes can run around and AoE well. And again, I thought that Gilneas was still alive because of the minimap, but it's dead. So what you would expect, to be sure. Let's see if this teleport can get blocked here. And you can see Mishan here hunting down Maim, and Galen is looking to pile in as well, and they do a good job of taking him out. And you know, Maim being lower level than several of the Alliance heroes is generally not a great sign. As you can see, significantly behind Akamon than Ner'zhul. Now, to be fair, Maim is a melee hero, and the Alliance has some pretty good players, so they're doing a very good job at focusing him down. But still, being almost, you know, 10 levels behind the caster heroes is generally not a good sign. Also notice that I keep saying sign a lot, so I'll try and think about that. That's a nice AoE going down there as well. This is always a bit of a strange situation for the Alliance, because on one hand you really want to retake this lower level, but there can often be this, I don't know what you call it, like disorganization, I suppose, where some players are trying to retake the lower ground and some players are sort of AFKing at the top, and there's disharmony all around. But it does look like the Alliance is doing a good job at AoEing the entire Horde here. And again, the Alliance is usually the strongest where every player is at the same place, so the Horde attacking all at once like this is generally not advisable, I would say. Although at this point they might be able to punch through it regardless. You see Mame is back and he's using his ultimate, and with the AoE heroes softening up the Alliance, he should be able to carve up the entire Alliance here if he isn't careful. This is actually one of the biggest traps when you play a melee hero like this, is if you hit an air unit, it will actually cancel the cleave, so if you're not careful you can sort of stand around hitting griffins or something and really reduce your own damage. But it didn't happen in this case. Although Mame does go down, it does look like the Alliance is not going to survive this battle either. You can see Gen trying to teleport out here and does get interrupted. And I thought it was really nice that you could see that both Ner'zhul and Archimonde actually had their abilities ready to interrupt him. Yeah, that's the end of Stromgarde, and this means we only have Ironforge left. So, not sure what that notification was. So, while the Horde is preparing to attack Ironforge, I'll try to look over the various items and so on. You can see that the red player and the blue player has brought their workers to Ironforge, which is always nice. This is a somewhat curious build from Sylvanas. The Windstring Bow is pretty good, and Wolf Hunter's guys I would argue is fairly questionable, but this is probably a stone pot, which I mean, I guess it makes sense that if you can't do any damage if you're dead, but at the same time this is critical hero killing hero for the Alliance, and if they're building a bunch of tank items, that can be a problem. You can see Bran here has a much more normal, well, I shouldn't call it normal, but a much more damage heavy build with attack speed and Thunder Fury. And then we have Mishan, which has extremely high damage with her own innate armor reduction as well as a corrupted edge. So good stuff. And we have Antonidas, who has a bunch of cash items. Khadga with a bunch of cash items, nothing strange going on there. See Galen, a bit of a strange build as well. Where you have a Stone Pot and a Thunder Fury, which does good damage, especially since Galen has a lot of natural attack speed, but maybe a bit low on the sort of sustained hero damage, which is definitely what the Alliance would need at this point. And Turvalian again with another strength item, so definitely some strange stuff going on there. He does have a lot of hit points, but he has extremely low armor, which is a bit unfortunate. And on the Horde side, you can see Archimonde, pretty tanky build, very nice for sort of constantly harassing and making sure he doesn't die to Mishan or Bran or Sylvanas or Galen or something. And Griselda has a very nice build as well, very tanky, which I like, and also synergizes well with her natural healing abilities. Now, one sort of critical drawback could be said is that this type of Griselda build does extremely low damage. And then we have Mame, who is, as you can see, well, still a bit low on level, but he's getting up there as well, and once he gets his Glacial, he will be doing pretty well on his own anyways. So yeah, not sure what else to say. There's some sort of submarine harass going on over here, which is always nice if you can pick up some free item points. And yeah, it does look like the Horde is preparing for a final assault. Maybe sending in some battle peons. Not sure if he's trying to clear mines or just moving to build a base down south and getting an unfortunate path. You can see Mame here getting pretty demolished by all these mines as well. And since Ironforge has been left alone the entire game, he should have a lot of gold, and indeed he does have almost 15,000, so we'll see how it works out. I like to keep the point of view of some Horde player, because at this stage in the game the Horde heroes are extremely important, and I think it's nice to see if one of them happens to die. Yeah, you can see it's a bit of a clusterfuck from the Alliance perspective. There's a lot of units from all sorts of players, so it's really hard to move around, and you can see that certain heroes and so on are sort of stuck in the back. Yeah, so nice attack going on over here. Maim has his cleave ready or not. Does look like it, and he can really carve up all these units if the Alliance doesn't focus him in time, but it does look like they are at least trying to, so nice movements going on there. But at the same time, while they're focusing on Maim and Griselda to the south, it does look like Archimonde and Ner'zhul is pushing the top. Yeah, some good stuff overall. Does look like both Maim and Griselda managed to sneak away, which is always a bit unfortunate. There's a whole bunch of AoE going down here. Does look like there's some sort of blockage. You can see that the Horde rather really wants to charge all their units in, but when you have these varying players and various range units because are constantly blocking each other, it's really hard to move anything anywhere. And you can see here that Ner'zhul is sort of trying to move back while the yellow player is trying to move in, and it's, yeah, a bit awkward. And you can see Archimonde is stuck at the front. We'll see if he manages to weasel out at the back here. And he does manage actually, so maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought. But Ner'zhul, unfortunately for him, he's not so lucky, and he does almost die, but he does actually have a Radiant Savior, so he will manage to sort of sneak out the back. But unfortunately for him, there's sort of sneaky Galen coming in from the side and slapping him down. But Archimonde is still healthy, and he will sort of sit here and churn out his AoE, and with Ner'zhul dead, the Dark Green player has a lot of attention to put into Micwing his other units. You can see he's playing Deathwing and almost manages to chase down Sylvana, but not quite. And now Archimonde is stuck in the front as well, and Mishan does a good job of cutting him down as well. So Teal player at this stage is extremely critical for the Alliance, and Mishan is a very good hero at taking down our Horde heroes as well. So nicely done by him. Let's see what else going on here. Does look like the Horde is trying to pour in, and you need to be really careful with this, as all the Horde heroes are dead. This is not going to accomplish much on its own, and you can see they're kind of pulling back, but they're kind of not, and it's not really doing much. And at the same time, Maim is having some trouble breaking through this lower portion. I would say that the Horde has a bit of a strange, I guess you could say, hero allocation, in that they have both their melee heroes at the bottom and both their caster heroes at the top. It would be perhaps better for them if they had one caster at the bottom and one caster at the top, and one melee at the bottom and one melee at the top. But they do manage to take this sort of lower ground, and maybe they can take out the farm here. Meanwhile, it does look like Ner'zhul is back and he's doing some harassing. So yeah, you can see Galen here trying to duel Maim. We'll see how that pans out for him. Oh, yes, they both get away. It does look like something is attacking the Spire, so it does look like the Gilnean player is trying to take out the Spire, but with the new and upgraded repair from Peons, it doesn't look like he's going to manage them. Indeed he doesn't. Some more harass going on for Ner'zhul, and this is extremely obnoxious for the alliances. It's really hard to deal with it. As long as Ner'zhul is paying attention and staying away from Mishan, it's really hard to hunt him down when he's constantly running back and forth like that. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Let's see if Maim has his ultimate ready, but it doesn't look like it. And without his ultimate for cleave, he can't really do much. And you can see here the alliance is easily driving him away. So nice healing from Griselda. Now you can see really gaining his hit points back, almost a full. Meanwhile, Tyraelin getting some nice feed here actually, but we'll see if he is overextending or not. Does manage to sneak away, so nicely done by him. So yeah, it's a bit of a slow moment, and indeed Sylvanas did get a stone pot, which no, it's not a terrible idea, as I mentioned earlier. You know, if she's dead, she can't kill anything, but you know, you generally don't want to see this. You see, this is a much more damage-leaning build, I suppose. But yeah, it does look like the Horde is feeling ready to attack again, with May moving in, and then now they do sort of rotate Archimonde down, so we'll see how it works out. And as they mentioned previously, this is actually a really nice combination with Griselda sort of shielding and healing Maim, as well as buffing his damage while he churns out the cleave. You can see all the players using the glacial shields. Now, I'm not sure who Misha was trying to go for there, but it didn't work out, and she does get taken out by Maim and Archimonde. Meanwhile, Dark Green is doing some sort of drop here, but it does look like the purple, who still has his air units, even though Dalan has been destroyed for like 20 minutes, do manage to take out the Zeppelin. Unfortunately for the Alliance, the no Horde here was in it. And you can see here Ner'zhul using the Death's Edge onto Aurelian and unloading all his spells to essentially one-shot him. So yeah, 15 minutes left. And let's see what's going on here. I'll also look. Well, Orange has burned through most of his gold, but he still has 5,000, so he should really sort of churn out the units when he's attacked again. There's a nice knights around there, but unfortunately the Alliance doesn't really have the damage to follow it up. And we'll see if they manage to take out Griselda or Maim here. I think in general should definitely focus Maim over Griselda, which is a bit unfortunate that they didn't. But we'll see if we can make something happen here. We can see Galen here almost dying in the process, but yeah, these knights around is doing a really good job, and with both Maim and Griselda trapped, they'll both go down, I think. And indeed they do, so that's some nice moves there. And meanwhile, Ner'zhul is constantly harassing the top gate. And you can see here Antonidas using his ultimate and then his Journey's End to summon 2 water elementals at the same time, and then using all his abilities to spawn a bunch of small ones. I'm not a huge fan of this ability, but they do have pretty nice damage if they can sort of sit in the back and churn it out. So yeah, really nice game so far. I think this is definitely one of those moments where you need to be really careful as a Horde, because you're sort of banging your head against the wall, and if you sort of slack off, I suppose, and stop playing well and sort of try and grunt wave out of frustration, you can easily throw away the game. But considering the players, I don't think that's very likely. So yeah, some nice towers here, and I do see black towers as well, so maybe he still has his worker hidden in some corner somewhere.
Our town is under siege. Our forces are under attack.
There's some nice troop movements going on here as well, so I suppose the Alliance is going to try and rush the Spire again, and that's a lot of knights from both green and red and, well, green, from teal and black and red. And this is something that I do think that the Alliance is definitely not, well, maybe I shouldn't say the Alliance, but in this game, but the Alliance in general, it's very poor at using the units at the refugees to either reinforce an Alliance base or sort of constantly rush a portal in the late game. Because very often you see players who have 0-20 supply and 5,000 gold. And even if it has no real chance of working, it can really distract the Horde and force them to, you know, spend a bunch of units and a bunch of resources, or even teleport back to heroes. See, Maim is back. Cutting down some units here. I'm sort of expecting an ultimate here, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's not still on cooldown. You can see he's getting really blasted by the Alliance here. And we'll see if they can chase down Ner'zhul here. Apparently not. You can sort of see that it was close because Misham was following him and then sort of stopping to make her spellcasting animation, and he's just moving out of range to escape and then sort of repeating the process. Nice AoE from Khadgar here. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this Aurelian build, but it is actually pretty tanky, and he's doing a pretty good job at cutting up all these units and killing them with his sort of natural AoE ability. So we'll see what happens here. See the Alliances are running around, taking out the altar and trying to make something happen. So yeah, looks like there's some real attacking going on here. You can see again Unholy Frenzy on the Doomguards this time. And yeah, some nice stuff. Not sure what to say at the moment. Definitely don't think that the Alliance will manage to take out the Spire and the portal anymore. It's one of those things that you generally have to succeed on the first try, because if you fail, the Horde gets sort of paranoid and they beef up the defenses. But at this stage in the game, the Alliance heroes are becoming very powerful on their own, so maybe they can manage to hold on to Ironforge for another 10 minutes. Although Galen does go down to sort of combine AoE from the Alliance here, or from the Horde rather. We'll see what happens. Mishan at this point is extremely dangerous for the Horde and can really cut down the heroes. And you can see here she's pulling quite a number on Archimond, although it does manage that he might manage to sort of sneak out. And the Ner'zhul and the yellow players are doing a really good job at focusing her down as well. You know, kudos to them. Meanwhile, I'm not sure where Mame is, but looks like there's... oh, there he is. Looks like the brown and the light blue player are constantly attacking the south, and the Alliance defenders are definitely starting to look thin here. And I did think the orange player mentioned previously that he was about to run out of gold, so you see how things pan out. And Mishan dying like that is definitely problematic for the Alliance at this point, as she is the primary damage dealer. At least when it comes to actually killing heroes. You can see Terrain and dying here as well. And Mame running in and hitting Sylvanas in the face, which is never a good idea. Oh well, I shouldn't say it's a good idea, it's a great idea, but it's never a good sign for the Alliance. And we'll see if the Alliance can rally here, but they're definitely losing the lower portion of Ironforge. And while you can sometimes see these really great defenses up on the top part, it's usually hard to do, especially because the Horde heroes can sort of sit down here and AoE everything. Yeah, it's definitely a nice sort of thematic left stand here. I'm not sure where Gen died, so maybe he did try and go for the portal. You can see if Mishan managed to rush some hero here, but it doesn't look like it. And if she's not careful, she might actually go down here, which would be extremely bad for the Alliance. And this is kind of what I was talking about, right? The entire Alliance is stuck up here while the Horde casters are sitting sort of safely down at the back and AoEing everything down. And this is starting to look grim for the Alliance. They have very few heroes left and no units left, and Galen trying to teleport away, but looks like he will die, and Mishan is very low. Khadgar does teleport in with a lot of units, so maybe they can sort of pull something out here. Not sure what's going on here, but it looks like Archimond is trapped at the front, which is always nice for the Alliance if they can cut him down. And it does look like it does go down, but we'll see if Ner'zhul does go down as well. He's extremely low and he's also kind of stuck, but does look like maybe he'll be able to weasel out. Does use his Essence of Assumes at the last moment. Yeah, it's always kind of awkward to sort of commentate these last minute battles because there's too much going on. But this definitely looks pretty grim for the Alliance yet again, and you can see all these sort of almost dead heroes are huddling in the corner and, you know, praying for salvation, but with all of them dying, this should definitely be the end. And you see again here trying to escape again, but no dice. And yeah, it looks like the end. So, as usual, I will go over the end screen real quick, but yeah, the actual game is about to end. You can see someone here trying to teleport in at the last moment, but to no avail. So yeah, good game, well played. I will also say that if you don't actually click the, I guess you could say, continue on the victory screen, you can actually stay in the game perpetually, and sometimes the replays can really drag on. So yeah, we look over the score real quickly. I don't really particularly trust this screen for a variety of reasons, but we'll move over to this one, and you can see Ner'zhul on top with a whole bunch of unit kills, followed by Orange, which is very nicely done by him. You usually see the sort of Horde at the top, especially if they're one. You can also see that the Thunder Fury spawns that do that when it's utilized, which is why the orange units produce value is highly inflated. And then you have a sort of natural purple player actually did really well as well, also being very high on unit kills, outpacing several Horde players. And then the Horde sort of lagging behind. You see it's kind of interesting that the dark green player has more unit kills than the brown and light blue combined. Yeah, nothing else particularly interesting on the Alliance side when it comes to unit kills. So we'll move over to hero skill, and yeah, I always view the as you can say lineup in this way, but I know some people are really interested in the hero skills, so we'll do it like this. And of course, Ner'zhul doing really well with almost 50 hero kills, which is nice, and followed by Archimond, which is really nice as well. And then the rest of the Horde. Now, to be fair, Griselda isn't a great hero killer, so 11 kills isn't too shabby, and then you can see the Alliance doing pretty well, I guess. But they're definitely having problems killing the Horde heroes, which probably cost them in the end. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.